Hello there and welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel. I'm the RNGenius, but you may call me Eric, and in the last episode we finished up Chapter 4, Midsummer Revels. We ended up rescuing Princess Elfin and Elise from the so-called Imperial Liberation Front, but it wasn't so much as a rescue of a rescue than a show of goodwill. They presented themselves. We did defeat Gideon, but Gideon has support from a group of revolutionists, or what they like to think of themselves. I don't know what they are supposed to be. Comrade C, V, and I? No, I seems wrong. S. Comrade S, V, and C. And G. There must be an I in there. I wanted to make a joke. There would have been. Has to have been a vocal in there for someone. Anyway, it's a big-breasted woman, giant man with a scarred face and a Gatling gun, and Darth Vader. So we know all of them. They all have voices. Big-breasted woman has an eye patch. Everything's cool. We fought Comrade C, Darth Vader, 3-on-1. Turns out he's level 60 and's got 100k health, and he, after 3 seconds he lost interest and, didn't want to kill us anymore, surprisingly enough. I mean, technically, if I had grinded enough, I would have had a chance, not because I would have gained that much experience, but through Link experience, I think I could have done it if everyone had been at Link level 5, and you would have had, a great strike additional to cover proccing every so often. It would have been possible, I think. It would have been possible to take him out, but not in 3 turns! There's no way in hell you can take that guy out in 3 turns! What the F? But that is cool. Definitely not on hard, though. Not in a reasonable amount of time. Well, now, let's continue. Let us go to school again, because we haven't done that in a bit. 2 weeks of school, good lord! Yeesh! By the way, we got an S rank for Chapter 4.
Mid-August. It was the peak of summer, and the sweltering sun was beating down on the residents of Trista. After returning from Heimdall, we were given a whopping 5-day summer vacation before the school year resumed.
Whoa.
Turns out, Thors sticks to its military roots, only granting extended vacations to students over the New Year's holiday. However, nobles are allowed to visit home, ostensibly to give them time to become familiar with their family's holdings. And, as you might expect, that meant most students from classes 1 and 2 spent summer away from Trista. Meanwhile, classes 3 through 5 were stuck on campus, envying the nobility as they studied and trained as usual. The other members of Class 7 and I chose to stay in Trista as well, facing the heat with our fellow students.
Facing the heat? Where's Ulysses? $8:30. There's Ulysses. It's so hot. I'm dying in here. I'm sick of this heat already. Talking about it is just making me feel even hotter. The Academy should install an orbital air conditioner. At least then it would be a little easier to cope. An orbital air conditioner? What is that? Well, it's the device that blows out cool air to help regulate a room's temperature. Maybe it would help if you think of it as the opposite of a stove. Wow, that's got some kind of that sounds like some kind of wizardry. I've heard of them, but aren't they supposed to be prohibitively expensive? Only the most modern buildings seem to be able to afford them. Do you have one in your house? Well, there's one in the Rainford Company's corporate headquarters, yeah. It would be nice if my mother could spare one, you know, for the academy she sits on the board of directors for. Seems a bit much to hope for. This is a military academy, so I doubt we can expect to be indulged quite that much. Still, a machine to help us keep cool in the summer, whoever first invented that, should get a medal. I'll admit the summer heat here is more difficult to cope with than in Legram, but as long as I think of it as another part of my training, it doesn't bother me all that much. Berea gets similar summer heat waves, but there's usually a breeze blowing in from the canyon at this time of year. That does make summer a bit easier to manage. My hometown's up in the mountains, so it's pretty cool even around this time of year. Actually, now that you mention it, I would have thought that you three would go back for the summer being nobles and all. You were given permission, weren't you? If everyone else was going home, I would have considered it. But in the end, I decided against it. I mean, it wasn't all that long ago I got to see Elise. Maybe next year. I came here to train. Until I feel like I've made significant progress, I have no intention of returning home. Some of you saw my father's mansion. Do you think I'd go back to a place like that willingly? I'd much rather stay here and take my chances with heatstroke. You're really that uncomfortable at home, huh? Still, hot as it is, there's a lot going on right now. I doubt all the people headed to the conference at the end of the month have much time to worry about the heat. You make a good point. You're talking about the West Zemuria Trade Conference, right? That's the one. There's never been an international conference on that scale before, at least not in modern times. Major Dieter Kra, who also happens to be the International Bank of Prospel CEO, was the one who first proposed it. Like, the horse is obviously Erebonia, right? What's the, cockatrice down there? The bird. Is that Liberl? The deer? Could be Calvard? I don't know. I don't know any of these things. The crossbill, I mean, I see. It's the bella with a cross on it. Okay, fine. It's not that difficult, okay? Well. And what's that in the... No, that in the bottom right must be Calvard. All the people from Calvard always know herbal medicine and that sort of stuff. And what's that deer? Huh. No clue. I've heard that Prince Oliviert will be attending on behalf of His Majesty the Emperor, and Chancellor Osbourne is supposed to be attending too. Seems crazy to think we met them both just a few weeks ago. The Chancellor in particular was a pretty intimidating figure. It seemed like a big, scary monster. I've heard he served in the Imperial Army before becoming a politician. Then 11 years ago, His Majesty entrusted him with the position of Chancellor. Supposedly, a full 70% of the Imperial Army is under his jurisdiction. His real fame comes from the establishing most of the nation's railway network centered on the capital. Though he's also been responsible for annexing several smaller countries and independent states around Erebonia. I believe those all took place without any bloodshed, though, at least as far as I'm aware. I wouldn't put too much stock in what he's selling. Military spending in this country has increased exponentially since he took up his position as Chancellor. And that's only possible thanks to the tax revenue he gleans from the people of Heimdallr and those annexed nations. Well, he was the one who ordered the construction of those 2 railway guns they've pointed at Crossbell, too. At one point, Erebonia was on the verge of a full-scale war with Calvard because of those things. Ah, yeah, I heard that it was actually Liberl that proposed a way to avoid an armed conflict. They ended up signing the Non-Aggression Pact, right? Yeah, though, as I'm sure you've noticed, there's still quite a bit of tension between the two countries. I wouldn't be surprised if the issue reared its head again during the trade conference. Chancellor Osbourne's been a really popular figure in the capital, though. Popular enough that he seems to have a group of terrorists after him. He does seem to be the Imperial Liberation Front's main target, doesn't he? You know, the hammer of judgment that shall topple the dictator and all that. Indeed, they seem to harbor a deep-seated grudge against him. Their anger seemed a bit unusual in its intensity, didn't it? He does seem like the type who'd make a lot of enemies, especially with a face like that. Well, I'd rather not speak ill of my father's close ally, but... Come to think of it, isn't the instructor awfully late? It's well past time for homeroom to start. True, it should have started about 10 minutes ago, actually. I swear, that woman! She'd better not be sleeping off another hangover back at the dormitory. Wouldn't put it past her. I wish I could say there's no way our upstanding instructor would do that, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Excuse me? I'll have you know I did no such thing. Today.
Your eardrums are impressive.
Instructor?
Would you shut the door, please?
Good morning, Instructor.
The last person who enters the room shuts the door behind them. It's common courtesy. Come on.
Morning, everyone!
It's still open.
Anyway, I'll have you know I've got a good reason for being late today.
Okay. Let's phrase it this way. They don't have air conditioning, and she opened the door and opened the windows so that there's a breeze that's able to pass through the classroom to make it right. Just to make it right. She didn't forget the door. She intentionally left it open. All right.
And that reason is, we're going to be welcoming a new classmate today.
What?
What?
A transfer student at this time of year?
Seriously?
All right, come on in.
Righto.
What the shit, dude? You're second year. Oh, God. What?
Huh?
Oh, boy.
Crow?
But isn't he a second-year student?
I'm Crow Armbrust. Starting today, I'll be joining you fine folks as a member of Class VII. It's gonna be pretty sweet, guys.
What?
What? I mean, how?
Well, come on, think. He failed. Everything.
Are you sure you want to know? It's a long tale fraught with the intrigue of school politics.
Yeah, you suck, is the gist of it.
I don't think I'd put it quite like that. Back in his first year, he slacked off so much that he ended up failing a few of his classes. Then he came crying to me in a panic, like, "Oh, help me, Instructor Sarah. They're not gonna let me graduate."
Yeah, that sounds like Crow, all right.
So, as a special exception, he's going to be joining us for the next 3 months to pay for his laziness.
For 3 months, okay.
You can't be serious.
That's an even more pathetic reason than I was bracing myself for.
I think you already know that Crow was one of the trial users for the Arcus test they ran last year. So I thought he might be a good role model for you. In that sense, anyway. And don't forget, he'll also be joining us on our future field studies, too.
Nice. Looks like you saved me the trouble of having to explain it all. Anyway, let's let the good times roll.
Crow. I mean, Sarah intentionally left the door open for you to come on in because you were waiting outside. But you left it open because you suck.
Oh, and since we're all classmates now, no need for all that sweet talking you lay on the other second years, all right?
What's we talking?
Right.
Yeah, right.
Easier said than done, I fear.
If he was any more laid back, he'd be comatose.
Instructor, I can't help but notice you left the door open.
No, Crow left it open. Don't do, Gaius, don't make my joke bad.
Wait, is there someone else too?
Huh? Are you serious?
Come on, guys.
Oh, I was hoping to catch you off guard. All right, come on in and say hello.
I thought you forgot I was out in the hall!
Huh? Who's that? What? What?
What?
What?
You must be joking.
Hey, aren't you?
You're the girl we met in the Nord Highlands.
Yuppers! Long time no see, guys.
Yuppers? Can I have a head like
But
that?
I see a couple of you I don't know, so I guess I better introduce myself. I'm Millium. Millium Orion. And this here is Erebonian, but we'll just call him Lammy for short.
Brr.
What the hell is that?
It's called archaism.
Holy crap!
It's that thing we saw at Ark's fort.
It's able to fly, guys. Pretty
So
cool.
this is that strange girl you met in the Nord Highlands.
Oh, and a little house rule before anything gets blown up. No bringing that thing out in the classroom. If he accidentally smashes a wall or blasts through the ceiling, I'm the one who's gonna get chewed out for it.
Boo! Fine. Anyway. Nice to meet you guys.
What was that? And you're gonna share a desk.
Tell me you're kidding. Please?
I really wish I could.
Well, I can see we're in for some fun times these next 3 months.
What? 3 days went by. At first, no one was sure what to make of Crow Armbrust and Intelligence Division agent Millium Orion's sudden transfer into Class VII. But within a matter of days, it almost felt like they'd been there all along. Yeah, it's no problem. The Intelligence Division's gaining a little bit of insights, and Crow is here to, pull us down. Everything's cool. Nice. Oh, she's still talking about Drykos, huh? I'm sure none of you need to be reminded that it was none other than Emperor Drykos who ended the War of the Lions. But did you know that historical records tell us he had amazingly few soldiers under his command? Initially, his allies numbered only a few confidants and several warriors from Nord. And while supporters rallied to him in each region, his ranks still couldn't hope to compare to the other prince's armies. Nonetheless, they continued to advance, liberating region after region, and after half a year of bloody battles, Prince Drykos met perhaps his most well-known supporter. Millium, right? Would you happen to know the historical figure to whom I'm referring? Crow, dude. Oh, please, Instructor Sarah, can you help me? I'm not gonna be able to graduate. Yeah. Sure do. Leanne Sandlot, also known as the Lance Maiden. Oh, right you are. Well done. Sandlot was the daughter of a count who ruled over a remote region, and accounts tell us she showed great martial skill from a young age. In particular, her skill with a lance was unparalleled. No records exist of her ever being bested in combat. The Lance Maiden also had a group of mighty warriors under her command who fought alongside her in battle. Perhaps you'd like to illuminate us to the name of this famous band, Rean. The group of mighty warriors led by the Lance Maiden. That's the... Well, the Gralsritter is not the case. Well, it must be the Eisenritter because the Stahlritter sounds like awful. I mean, it must be Eisen. The Eisenritter, known as the Iron Knights. They were a band of knights said to be able to charge across the battlefield like lightning, cutting down all in their path. Correct! You've done your homework! The Wandering Prince met the Lance Maiden one day during a prolonged conflict in a remote region of the country. After recognizing each other as reliable and trustworthy, they pledged to fight together under a united banner. With the Lance Maiden and her knights bolstering his ranks, Dreikel's army swept through one region after another. In just a year, he was able to defeat the other princes and free the imperial capital Heimdallr. As an interesting footnote, the castle the Eisenritter used as their base of operations 250 years ago just so happens to be only a hop, skip, and a jump away from Laura's home in Legram. Indeed, it's known as Lohengrin's Castle. It's a beautiful old building situated on the shore of Lake Abel, to the west of Legram. Oh, you've mentioned that before. Does anyone live there now? No, due to the dangerous terrain there, no one ever goes near it. These days it exists simply as a relic of a bygone age. The Arsate family is responsible for the care of and maintenance of the castle, though really only minimal work is done. Speaking of the Arsate house, wasn't one of your ancestors the Eisenritter's second in command? Indeed, the Lance Maiden's most trusted assistant and confidant from what I understand. The Sandlot family line ended with the death of the Lance Maiden, and it's partly because of that the Arsate family mourns her death each year. I see. Oh, what a fascinating story. Legram, huh? Never had a mission there, so I've never been able to go. Maybe I should have stopped by when I went to Bereard a while back. You'd think she'd at least try to conceal the fact that she gets sent all over the country on secret missions. I know she totally just let it slip that she was doing something in Bereard too. Well, I suppose it's better than her being it's better than her being all distant and cagey around us. AP increased by 1. Woo! Okay, so tomorrow's a free day, which means that next Wednesday you will have your usual practical exam. You'd better all bring your A game. Oh, Millium and Crow, if you must have instructional materials you guys are going to need, you're going to need as part of Class 7 finally showed up. I'll hand that stuff off to you once we're done here, so I want you to come with me to the faculty lounge. Righto! Man, what a drag. Alright, homeroom's out for the day. Flee while you can! Magius, if you'll do the honors. As instructor. All rise. Bow. No one rose. He just said it. So, what do you think? Well, I don't think. We have to be on our guard around her at least. Same. Though I'd rather she kept that giant silver thing of hers hidden. I don't think she's a bad girl. I was taking a nap in the courtyard yesterday and she came and fell asleep next to me. What does that have to do with whether or not she's trustworthy? They looked like a couple of kittens all curled up together. Their personalities may be worlds apart, but they're both rather cat-like in their own ways. She can't be more than 12 or 13, still practically a child. Yeah, you're right. She's so chipper all the time that it's hard to really be cold toward her. Yeah, I don't think she would. I could bring myself to spurn her. She's got this natural charm, I think. Be that as it may, her presence here reeks of blood and iron, if you take my meaning. Well, it certainly seems that way.
As such, I'm planning on granting you a bit of additional assistance. I should have it ready for you in a few weeks' time.
It's hard to believe a girl like that could be an agent of the intelligence division. But just going off what happened in Nord, there's not much that would make me doubt it now. And then there's that thing, Ergatlum, that's always with her. She calls it Lammy, but aside from its name, we don't really know anything about it. It seems to be made from some strange material with both metallic and ceramic properties. Hard, but pliable. Agreed. It doesn't look like anything could even make a dent in... What? It doesn't look like anything you could make even with the most cutting-edge orbital technology. When I touched it, it felt really nice and cold. Wow, so you actually touched it? It hasn't escaped my notice that it seems strikingly similar to the combat shells we fight in our practical exams. I think it's safe to assume that they share some kind of common origin. Yeah. The instructor said she was forced to accept it, though in a sense, Millium was forced on us too. You're welcome to think what you will, but I don't trust her. Either way, she's technically our classmate now, like it or not. It may be a little early to tell whether we can trust her as a friend, but we should be able to figure out pretty quickly whether we can count on her as a member of Class VII. Well, that's a logical way of breaking it down at least. You're right, it's still pretty early to make sweeping judgments. Knowing her background would be great, but what's really important is whether we can count on her in a fight. Agreed. As students of the Military Academy, that's probably the most important issue. We'll have to see and wait. Well, considering we're living in the same dormitory, it would be good if we all got along. Yeah, I wouldn't want her to think we're trying to make her feel unwelcome either. And then there's Crow. What's he like, Rean? You seem like you get along with him pretty well. I don't know if I'd put it quite like that. If I had to say, I'd describe him as a capricious gambling addict, way too prone to ante up for anything for every hand. Adios, help us. He sounds like the kind of miscreant one would be better off avoiding. You can count on him when the chips are down, though. He really helped me out last month when Elise went into the old schoolhouse. He's good in a fight and pretty handy with his Arcus, too. Maybe we're worrying over nothing, then. Still, I'm not really sure how to connect with him, you know? Well, at least we're in separate dorms for the time being. We'll just have to see how things go. Alright. Well, I'm happy I answered that question correctly. Ring, 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 ring.
Hello, Rean Schwarzer speaking.
Oh, hi there, Rean.
TloH.
Do you have a moment?
TloH? Well, this is a surprise. What can I do for you?
You've got a new student in your class now, right?
2.
Well, her student notebook is ready, so I figured it'd be best to get it to her as soon as possible. And since you handled it last time, would you mind coming to get it for her?
Oh, you're talking about Millium. Sure thing. I'll come get it right away. You want me to swing by the student council room then?
That'd be great. Thanks.
She sure doesn't waste any time. I should head on over to the student council room before it gets too late.
Smartphones sure are handy, huh? Colette, of course, shopping? It sure is quiet around the academy when the nobles are away. But I'm so jealous. I wish the rest of us could go home for a month. I'd be able to beg my parents to take me shopping all the time. The nobles are all so lucky. I haven't been to my local shops in forever. I miss all of them. Well, priorities. But for the moment, I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope I'll see you in the next episode as well. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, toodles!